A lot of people are drawn to instructional design because of the freedom and flexibility that the field offers, but how much money are instructional designers making in the field? That's what we're going to take a look at today because we have fresh data from over 600 working instructional designers. So let's dive in and see what the numbers say. So first, let's just take a look at salary by country. Most of our respondents are from the United States because that's where we're based. And the average salary, full-time salary working for a company is $83.3 thousand US dollars. So in Australia, it's 117k Australian dollars. In Canada, it's 81.6k Canadian dollars. About 40k pounds in the UK, and around 1.2 mil Indian rupees in India. And then the N off to the right, that's how many respondents we had from these different countries reporting these numbers. So the most reliable one is going to be from the US, since we had over 500 US respondents. And for the rest of this video, we're going to dive deeper into the US data because we don't really have enough data from these other countries to really make some strong claims when we break it down by other metrics. So again, in the US, the average full-time employee salary is around $83,000. The average total compensation is $86.6 thousand. And the way we arrived at the total compensation, we looked at everyone who's working as a full-time employee, everyone who's freelancing, and everyone who's doing a little bit of both. We found that about 10% of the full-time employees were also working freelance on the side. And then this 86.6K or so is the number we came up with. So on average, if you're an ID working in the US, you're probably making around that 86.6 or 7K mark. If you're working as a full-time freelancer, it's around 85,000 US dollars. And this one ranges quite a bit. We have people making, 20, 30K a year as a freelancer and people making 300K a year as a freelancer. When I freelanced my first year doing it full-time, I made almost $200,000, and every year it was a six-figure salary, if you want to put it that way. But it takes a lot of work and it's quite stressful. So more fluctuation, I would say, as a freelancer, higher earning ceiling. But as a full-time employee, it's probably your fastest route to getting a respectable salary, I would say, if you're going for that 80 to 90K mark. And then 1 in 5 respondents in the US are earning six figures or more. So, and a lot of people are earning close, but yeah, 1 in 5 instructional designers are earning six figures in the United States. So if that's your goal, it is pretty realistic and doable. Let's look at salary by industry though, because that is going to impact how much you can earn, I would say. And on the corporate side of things, we're looking at 87.4K or so. So that's where most of our respondents are coming from, are from the corporate space. In government, the average salary is around 84K. And in the healthcare space, around 83K. And you can see the number of respondents in these other industries are a little bit lower than corporate. And corporate includes tech, so that's probably why the salary is quite high there. Our respondents working for nonprofits reported an average of 76.3K salary. And then in higher education, it's the lowest of all of them. It is 68.5K. And that's pretty consistent with what I've seen since I've been in this industry. The higher education salaries are a lot lower than the corporate salaries. So if you want to maximize your earning potential, corporate and the tech space in particular is probably a good thing to set your sights on. Salary by education. This one may surprise some of you. So our respondents with doctorate degrees reported the highest earnings with an average of 93.5K. With professional degrees like, a law degree or a med school degree or something like that, reported 88K, and we only had 5 respondents with professional degrees. A lot of respondents with master's degrees. So 83.8K is the average if you have a master's degree. And surprisingly enough, if you only have a bachelor's degree, I was going to say you may expect to earn a little bit more, but there's other ways we could break up this data. But as you can see, there isn't a big difference between people with master's degrees and bachelor's degrees in this field. We may infer that it might be a little bit easier to land a role if you have a master's degree, just because of how many respondents have that degree here. But even when we look in other industry surveys, most instructional designers don't have master's degrees. So I am a little bit curious to do future surveys and dive into this data a little bit deeper and figure out what's going on here with this earnings discrepancy and why we had so many respondents with master's degrees. But that's okay. And keep in mind the master's degree isn't necessarily in instructional design for all of these people reporting the master's degrees. But yeah, if you have a bachelor's or a master's, you're going to do just fine with either one of those. An associate's degree, we only had a few respondents with that and only a few respondents who reported having some college education. So I would say most people in the field you can expect to have either a bachelor's or master's degree, and the earnings are pretty similar for each of those. Okay, salary by experience. If you're transitioning into the field, you may be particularly interested in this. Respondents with 0 to 3 years of experience reported just around $78K as their salary. The average salary for 4 to 8 years of experience, we're looking at almost $88K per year. So quite a big jump once you hit that 4 to 8 year mark. 9 to 15 years, we see another increase in salary as you would expect. The more experience you have, the more you're earning. 16 to 20 years, another big jump up into the 6-figure range on average, but we only have 14 respondents who have that amount of experience, as you can see. And then with 21 to 25 years, another very minor jump, and only 8 respondents have that much experience for this survey. And then finally, for 26 plus years of experience, we only had 6 respondents, and the earnings dropped quite a bit for this group. So hopefully that's helpful. We can also look at earnings by a bootcamp. I found this interesting. We've recently surveyed our bootcamp graduates much more intensively, I would say. And we found that the average salary for our graduates is $94.2K. So quite a bit higher than the industry average. And then the range of that on the low end is $60K and on the high end is $130K. And the bootcamp graduates are coming into this field with no formal instructional design experience in most cases. So when we compare that to the industry average salary with 0 to 3 years of experience, right, it's a pretty big difference, around $16K or so per year difference. So investing in something like a bootcamp can help out quite a bit. And again, the whole thing we focus on in the bootcamp is building up a really strong portfolio and a really good portfolio project with a lot of feedback from experienced instructional designers along the way. So if you are looking at programs like that, they may pay off for you much better than a master's degree. And if you're looking at other bootcamps or academies, make sure you ask about the earnings numbers for their graduates just to see what kind of return on investment you can expect to get. So hopefully this was helpful. We ran through the numbers really fast. I will link the full report in the description if you want to see more data here. But generally, there's high earning potential in this field, especially if you're coming from a field like education, especially, again, if it's from a state where teachers aren't paid very well, which I think is most states. If you are aiming for a 6-figure role, 20% of instructional designers are earning 6 figures this year. And then yeah, you can transition into a near 6-figure or above 6-figure role if that's what you're set on. Yeah, that's definitely a feasible thing to aim for if you're coming into the instructional design field. And if you want some extra help and you haven't seen my full guide yet to becoming an instructional designer, check it out. It's free. It's here on YouTube. I just posted it last week, I believe. So I will link that in the comments and the description, and check it out. And that will set you on your path to landing these kind of roles. So let me know if you have any other questions. Maybe subscribe if this video was helpful, and I will see you in the next video.